Alrighty, Doc here from North America. Happy to hump day. It's Wednesday. Let's see what we got brewing today. A little higher prices in oil. And you can see the dollar's kind of flattish to firm compared to week yesterday. You can see the 3 red on the Forex there. The last 3 days, pressure on the dollar. Because the Swiss has been going down in value, which means it's gaining against the dollar. Dollar is losing value. You can see here the curve right there. You see it over on Chicago Quant. Let's see, make that look. I guess it doesn't matter. I was going to say try to make that a little bit bigger. See how that looks. And it looks okay. You can see all the numbers there. Let's see what we've got like that. There you go. That makes it a little bit bigger. A little bit. Whoa! That exploded it. Technology at its best. All right, there we go. And I guess I have to do this. If I go like that, bring it up to there, and then I go like that. Let's see if that'll do it. Make it a little bit. Yeah, that looks all right. There we are. Let's see how it looks on the webinar there. Oh, it looks good. All right, that works well. So you can see right here, right there. Let's use this mouse. You can see right there, just a little bounce up. It closed there yesterday. It's not just a little smidgen higher. It was higher yesterday too. But we're in that cell, as you can see, just like we are in the J4X there with that pressure on there. All right. What else can we say about that? Is I guess things are like we thought and like we've been saying. And the end result is that things are going to stay inside their channels until something really dramatically changes. And I don't think that anything's too dramatically going to change. I think that the world overall is going to find a way out of this issue of Mr. Putin going full metal jacket, I guess you could say. He's gone totally wild. And the bigger question is, how long will this last? Sounds like 2 or 3 weeks. I imagine the European Union is going to take Ukraine into the European Union, not necessarily in NATO, but into the European Union, and there's protections. And then what will happen is that there'll be a no-fly situation over Ukraine, probably going into Thursday or Friday, probably Friday. And where are we at now? Wednesday. So they just have to hold on for a day and a half or so, and I'm sure Mr. Putin knows that. He's no fool. He's done his best to posture. He's actually, when you really look at it, what we're hearing here, electronically, in other words, you're hearing information, what it really sounds like more than anything else is that the Russian army wasn't prepared to fight a battle. What they were supposed to do is blitzkrieg Ukraine, just rush in, take over the government because the government would run away and they wouldn't have to do too much fighting because they supposedly only have 3 days of supplies. So that's kind of weird in its own right, to send in an army with only three days of supplies, and we're on the 6th day now, going on the 7th day. So it kind of makes it a little bit a problem. And I'm sure that the Russian army wasn't expecting to have over 6,000 casualties, that type of thing. And it's just turning into how do they back out of this situation? And I guess they're trying to, Mr. Putin and his team is trying to figure out, is there a way of winning? Is there a way of winning without being totally alienated? And that's the problem, is that we're seeing things like Apple Computer and Microsoft and all these other companies, they're all backing away from doing trade with Russia in every which way. I understand that there were people who were trying to access their money through like Apple apps and they weren't working. They've turned them all off. The companies themselves, not the U.S. government, or it's actually the companies themselves are realizing that they shouldn't be supporting Mr. Putin's activities. So it's really turning into the exit for Mr. Putin, which was through Kyiv, as we used to say, Kiev, seems to have shrunk. And the more we see these pairs trades trade in a tight range, it means that money is thinking the same thing that I'm saying out loud, is that this shall pass, and it won't pass poorly. I think that's what it's really trying to say to us at the moment here. And I guess that's the only way to really interpret it. I mean, you know, these things are not flying all over the place. Now, Russia exports, what is it, 5 million barrels a day, 4.5, 5 million. So over 500,000 come to the United States itself. And so what's happening is that the government here is not blocking Russian oil. The companies themselves are deciding not to buy it. That's what it really comes down to. They're going into the open market and trying to find somewhere else to buy it. But the problem for Russia, again, is that that other little exit doorway is shrinking also, because the oil is not being bought by a lot of places now. Now, I'm sure the Chinese will take all of it. They don't care. But in the end result is if they buy it from there, then they stop buying it from where they've been buying it before, which opens the doorway for other countries to buy it. So, you know, in other words, in the end result is that we are even seeing President Xi, or like they used to like to say, President for Life, Xi, of China, basically saying that he really thinks that they need to negotiate and end all this. And so he's not that supportive either. And I guess, you know, it's becoming in the end result is that's why the currency pairs are all trading in a range. And you can see it here, you know, on the Chicago Quant very clearly with the lines that we've drawn. And you can see it here on the J4X. It is in a range. It's jumped up during the invasion, and now it's down, and now it's sideways again, right back where before the invasion. And let's take a look at the euro. I'm sure we're looking at the same situation. In this case here, the euro is kind of backing off more. You know, it's kind of losing its punch. I'm seeing Yana saying something to, I think it's FX Freedom. You can see here the euro, you know, is backing off to its new lows of, I don't know, what's that, last few years? There we go. Yeah, I mean, it's all of a sudden the European Union, which kind of looked a little bit firmer. I thought I was in a buy on that. Let's see what's going on. That may be just a hinky-ashy in the slow process. Yeah, see, it's pretty much almost unchanged from yesterday. And so you can see our weekly's trying to turn up here. It's been down here at these lows for the last couple of days, but it's not going anywhere. You know, it's trapped inside this range now, and we're at the low end of that range. You know, see, it's just sitting there again, and the attack by Mr. Or the freedom invasion, I guess it's called, the Russian freedom invasion into Ukraine. Basically, was the euro is there, and still feeling the pressure of it right there compared to the Swiss is right back to where it started from. Let's see. Yes, I see it all there. Okay, that's good. And again, we went into the buy, 2 days ago, and it tried to go up and stalled out, as you can see right there. You know, and it's giving us these downish type candle things going on. And now we are flirting again with the daily sell. Do I think we're going to this bottom end of the range? I would assume we may be seeing new pressure on the euro, because the traders in Europe and money overall around the world must know what kind of pressure it's going to be, what kind of pressure we're going to see when they take. See, I don't know exactly what the obligation is. So in other words, 90% of the European Parliament said they want to take Ukraine into the European Union. And with that comes, some defense measures, some protection, so forth and so on. Now, if that happens in the next, 48 hours, which the vote is for, it's supposed to happen, then there must be some pressure on the euro, I have to assume. And I guess that's what that line is telling us there. It's sitting on that, that point, what is that? That's like the 0.23 or vice versa. The point, is that the 70 something? Let's move that over so we can see that. What is that? Like that? No. How do we? Oh, I guess if I slide that over, can we see it? Let's see if it does that. Still doesn't do it. But this is the, if that's 5.0 and this is 0.38 and this is 6.1, then that's 2.3. So it's sitting on the 2.3. So, let's put it this way: is money going to be surprised that they vote them into the European Union? No. There's no way that they're going to be surprised, because the European Union, right now, 90% of the ministers say they're voting for it. So it's going to happen. Now, I guess, Mr. Putin and his team is trying to figure out how do they deal with that. They've just forced the Ukraine into the European Union by invading it. So, I mean, this could it go any more wrong than it already has gone? In other words, that's kind of the situation we're going there now. Now, will Poland and Romania and Hungary, the bordering countries, and Germany, will they be flying Phantoms now over Ukraine going into Friday? Good chance. There's a very good chance. Does that mean that that maybe the Russian army doesn't want to try to advance as much as it's trying to advance right now? I would think so. Because if they don't control the air, then you don't want to be moving ground troops in any, in any military theater. You don't want to on the ground. You don't want to have your troops moving around when you don't control the air. And they keep on. There's a lot of reports coming out of the Ukraine that things are not really working out very well with the basics of the invasion for the Russians. So, let's see, where do we go from here? Let's take a look at the cable. See what the cable looks like. Let's see, right there. There it is right there. You see the cable just teeny-weeny little up, but down for the day. Moving up on the candle, but down for the day. Very thin. You can see it tried to get into the buy yesterday. We had that volatility signal. Maybe this is the beginning. If this thing will climb up, you can see we've been flirting in and out of the weekly. In fact, we should do this with the weekly style. We really don't want to look at the 5. I want to look at this. I like to watch that one more on that stuff. There we go. There we go. So you can see here it's just barely minus by the hair of its chinny chin chin. Look at that. Plot 1 is minus 0, just went from 6 to 8. Minus 0.00011. Wow, they've just gone from 6 to 11. So a little pressure on. Oh yeah, look at that. The candles even turned pink. And so, it's just a little price action there. And we are at the bottom end of the range. So again, all these products seem to be trapped in their trading range that we've been watching. And I guess it's going to take something really dramatic to take them out of these trading ranges, the Forex trading ranges, which will probably be the title today of the webinar. The trading ranges of all the pairs trades. The many different ranges. No, I guess the established range of all the pairs trades. That's it. That sounds like a good title. Let's see, what else can we say about that? And that is that I guess when you see this action, and you see, silver's moved up, so you would always think about, Great Britain, having a positive moment when silver goes up in value. Let's see, just like when copper goes up in value, that helps out China. All right, let's from here jump over to the Turkish lira. Oh, we didn't look at it on J4X. Let's see what it looks like on J4X real quick. Same way, it's looking like the euro with that pressure towards the downside here, and really trying to find a bottom. It's going to be very fascinating when they take Ukraine into the European Union in the next 48 hours, it'll probably be like this time Friday morning, as far as I can tell. So it's under 48 hours. It'll be interesting to see how this all plays out. You know, I hope troops are bivouacking instead of fighting. I would hope the Russian troops would start to think about like building campfires and cooking marshmallows instead, and stop advancing, because you don't want to be trapped in a situation like that if you're on the ground. All right, from there, let's take a look at Turkish lira. We'll look at the dollar Turkish lira first. Really tight. Look how nice and tight that is. Traders, this is a laboratory. This is definitely a great experiment, showing great success. You know, give some puts out to people buying your currency, and it definitely saves you from having to spend literally billions of dollars to protect your currency. I hope South America is watching this, because I really would love to see them come up with a recipe for stop doing all those defaults. I mean, decade after decade, they seem to constantly do defaults. So, all right. Let's take a look at it through the eyes of the euro Turkish lira now. Put that up on the Chicago Quant. Right there. It's going to sell for a few days here, getting a little volatility signal again. Look at the flat line of the weekly. It went into the weekly sell last week. Why is that not lit up? Let's light that up too. There we go. And it's just in the plus again. Wow, how close that is. It's going to take a while for this thing to, you know, because of this action here and all these wild moves. But it's going to start to digest all that over time. Get used to the low volatility, which but the population in Turkey are very happy about. Low volatility versus high volatility. And there it is. On J4X, you can see all that red. Look how they're burying the line there. It's like our weekly be doing. It's like it's buried, you know. You can see the Chicago has turned up and is trying to join in with that strength we're starting to see. Well, you know, and the end result is that Turkey has turned the page of all that chaos, currency chaos, we've been watching for like the last 8 years, and it's so nice. And I'm so happy for them, and you know, it's like let's hope they stay that way. And President Erdogan seems to be got himself a whole new project, maybe filling the vacuum of the Russian Federation situation. I mean, this was not a smart move. You're not supposed to show your weakness. If this goes on for another couple of days like this, Mr. Putin is going to have lost a lot of credibility. And notice Iran is supporting Ukraine. Now Turkey is supporting Ukraine. That means that all that adventurism that he's been doing all these years, down that way in the old Russian, you know, the Soviet Union / Russian Federation, may just, this is going to, in the end result, this, I don't think he was expecting this, you know, in the sense of thinking that this was going to happen, but what he's done is he's triggered a potential for a shrinking of the old Soviet Union even more, or / the Russian Federation may start to shrink, because now they're going to see that it's okay if Russia beats you up against Russia, you know, that's not prepped against the Western military. But when the Western military is there, obviously the Russian equipment is not necessarily, well, it's so hard to say. You know, we're going to have to just watch this play itself out. But one thing's for sure, I think President Erdogan from Turkey is looking to catch any open vacuum that this creates in his neighborhood. And I'll leave it at that. All right, from there we go over to the Canadian, our neighborhood. the neighbors to the north, as we like to call them. And there it is there, the CAD. You can see it's been in the daily sell for 3 days. Now it's giving us a green dot. Still down, but trying to turn. We've also, at the same time, our weekly is trying to roll over and head south. So this thing's all over the place. Normally we could relate to it through the oil action. You would think, you really would. Let's put it up on J4X. You would think that it would be visiting like, lows against the dollar now. I mean, just lows. Because, I mean, we're looking at crude oil now. Like, there's CAD. You would think it would be down all the way down to here by now. I mean, that's a real surprise because, I mean, we're looking at oil trading at like, I think, was it Brent is trading at like 111 or something like that? Let's take a quick look and see where Brent is. Yeah, 111.85. I mean, you would think that the Canadian would be going totally bananas, heading south hard, looking for the exit, down in here in the 124 area instead of the, well, it's not that far up, I guess 126, almost 127. But look at the little bouncy thing it's trying to do right here on the daily. Just like our daily is trying to make its little push up. So, oh, there's Zelensky. What's he saying? Ukraine only found out about it because Russians leaked it. This assassination plot to the Ukrainians. Oh, some type of. The identified assassins killed at the airport here in the western part of the country. We have this constant flow of refugees when they get to the border. Oftentimes, okay. So, I guess eliminated hit squads. Huh. Second round of talks between Russia and Ukraine set to take place today. Well, I understand that the what we talked about a little while ago was one of the demands was no NATO, no European Union. Well, one's gone now. Mr. Putin has made sure that they're going to be in the European Union, which is really weird. So I don't know what their next move is going to be. Boy, if I was them, I'd apologize and go home and negotiate a cheap way of paying for what they've done. So you're like, we'll give you like 500,000 barrels a day for the next 5 years, and that'll take care of your damages that we blew up and killed and so forth. They got to come up with something, that's for sure. I saw yesterday they floated a $277 million bond, the Ukraine central bank, and it was sucked up like oxygen, taken, gone instantly. And that was just to pay for debt that was outstanding. So they're even in the middle of a war, they're paying their debts. Someone should tell President Xi about that. I mean, he's got companies that are in debt and they're owned by the government, and he's not. They can't even find $26 million to pay for them, which always makes me very doubtful that China has anywhere near the equity that they think they have. All right. From there, we're going to jump over to, we just saw Brent, and it was up like at 111. Normally, we think this thing's heading down. I understand gold is going the other way, so let's take a quick look at gold. We'll do it on the J4X and leave Canadian up. And that is gold there. So, still in the sell for 3 days. I tried to get into the buy yesterday and it's failed. And you can see that pressure on it. But the weekly looks fine. It's holding up pretty well there. But the daily is saying basically is that don't get too excited. Don't get too excited. It should be very fascinating. All right. In other words, don't buy me so quick. And Mr. Putin's not going to have to go totally 100% rogue and probably set off one of his funny nukes, or let's hope it works right and doesn't just like blow up on top of them. So they can hit the button and self-destruct instead. Something like in a dramatic movie. Let's see. From there, we will jump over to the South African Rand. And I imagine that's going sideways up just because of this action there. So we'll put that up on there. Right there. And that's what it's doing. It's going up-de-daisy. Up-de-daisy. And let's see what it looks like right here. kind of the same situation there. You see the daily is trying to push up after going into a sell 2 days ago. You can see the weekly, which pierced the weekly buy and then rolled over, is falling back into the sell again. So it's really mixed messages there, you know. It's been going down in that weekly sell. Here we get the pop. It looks like it's trying to do it. Maybe they're taking it up to take it down again. I keep on thinking that we're going to see a stronger South African rand, but it doesn't seem that. Hey, there's 47. How you doing? Let's look at Gbp Jpy. Sure, let's take a peek at that. I'm on a roll today. I'm just happy to see that peace may break out over in Ukraine. That's I think that I'm in that make love, not war thing, you know. Make love, not war. All right. And there you are right there. Remember, I'm from the 60s. I was in high school in the 60s. Yeah, I mean, some people say, yeah, I grew up in the 60s. I was in like 3rd grade. They say stuff like that, you know. I was in high school in the 60s. Late 60s, but still in high school. So definitely, see all those high school TV shows. All right. You can see there. Which product is this? No. Let's bring that down a little so I can see it better. Okay, it's Gbp Jpy. So you can see there it's flirting with the weekly sell at the moment. It's been in that daily sell with that whole glide down, and it's been in the weekly buy, and it hasn't been able to do anything. Remember I said that in the beginning of the week? With it in the buy and the daily sell, we'll probably see another one of these things. Well, there it was yesterday. They gave us one of those things. I think I said that, what's today? Wednesday. So I said that Monday. And so what is it now? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Going on a 9th day in the sell. And the weekly has climbed right back into that. How's that, 47? A-okay? And just remember, make love, not war. All right. From there, we go over to the ruble. Let's see what the ruble's doing this morning. Kind of hanging out up between the 111, or is it? It's trading at 111 and change right now. The high and low today. The high was 118 again, like that day there, that first day of the explosion on Monday. And the low is a little bit higher. Hey, no problem, 47. No problem at all. I hope you weren't waiting too long. I looked over to my right, and there it was. I thought, oh, there's 47. Cool. Too cool for school. All right. And that ruble's doing like that opposite thing of the Gbp Jpy. What's that? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this thing's moving literally in the opposite direction of that Gbp Jpy. 9 days on a daily buy. Only this thing's coordinated solidly. It's also been in a weekly buy now for its 4th week. So the math really picked up on that one. Yeah, but I have no interest in it until it calms down. Because, I mean, the moment what if Putin is as smart as we all think he is at times? What if he comes up with a way of getting out of this and apologizing to the world and actually doing like a Maya Copa, like, I was so wrong, I didn't mean to do this, I was watching the Kardashian girls and I got carried away, and so we're going to give Ukraine like a bunch of free oil for X amount of years, we sorry. I mean, basically it means they're just taking it out of their pockets. All of a sudden the sanctions start to come off, the economy starts to turn up, the people in Russia are happy again. You don't know. I mean, the guy could actually, do you really think he wants to go out as like the last Mussolini, or something crazy like that? I mean, if he's really as smart as we think he is, he's going to find a way to back out of this. And just like in trading, you take him up to take him down. In this case here, he's got this big standing army going nowhere in the Ukraine. I mean, they're doing a little shooting here and there. They've tried to take out Zelensky with some death squads. The clock is ticking. He's got to come up with a new strategy. So what if he does? If he comes up with a new strategy and makes it look like he really cared and lets everybody see the Kardashians on TV again like they used to, you know, you don't know. The ruble could go flying down. There's no, unless you can trade options into something like this, you don't want to trade in it. You really don't. You know, only if you need it. You know, you're a company and you have to have rubles. You know, I mean, they're, let's see, it hasn't been trading at most places in the world, but then we have, supposedly, we have, well, we've frozen their assets here in the States to begin with. And they had some crazy number over here, like, you know, $600 billion worth of it. 475 billion. It's like a half $1 trillion of ruble here. So we've got rubles to trade, you know. Now the market's temporarily unavailable still. So, you know, here in the States, we got a ton of ruble laying around doing nothing so we can make markets in it. Whereas outside the United States, I mean, how much ruble really is in Europe? I doubt any. I mean, the Russian Federation has claimed that they were going to take their money out, you know, and I'm sure they have, and they've been taking some of their gold back and so forth. But you know, I don't really, I don't think many people, you know, many places in the world have ruble at the moment that they can trade. Here in the States, we have it. We have a lot of ruble that can be traded. So now New York City's talking about doing some type of, I guess there's a lot of Russian investment in New York City. Buildings, tall, brand new buildings. They do, I think they're doing the Chinese thing, you know, where they build these beautiful buildings, but no one's in them. And then they just let them sit. And so New York knows, you know, because, you know, it's New York, it's, you know, it's a city. So they know where this investment is, and there's talk about it's close to $1 billion worth of real estate just in New York City. Now I'm talking about, like, they have 650 billion in reserves, and 3/4 of it is here in the States. So they've frozen it, and that means they've got a lot of ruble laying around. Does that make sense to you? I think Russia had 40% of their foreign currency laying around in foreign places like Germany and Britain. Could have been. I know that they froze everything that's outside the country. Britain did, Germany did, United States did. I don't know who's making markets besides some of the markets here are making markets in the ruble. Are you seeing any markets in ruble where you live, 47? We'll see what he says about that. From there, we're going to slide over. Where are we going to go from there? We'll go over to the yen. Let's see what the yen's doing. Right there, dollar yen. Okay, that makes sense. I don't think they have too much money outside the United States, solely because we pay interest on our money, and Germany's not paying interest on their money. So that probably is a big thing too, you know. I mean, you know, they want some return on their capital if they're going to have it outside the United States. All right. So from there, you can see the yen is trying to move back up. You know, we're playing in that 5-year high territory, so it is curious to see how this all plays out in the end. You know, with the, I keep on hearing this number in my head, 118. I don't know why I keep on hearing it, but I keep on hearing it. We'll see if it gets up to 118. Maybe it will. All right, from there, where are we heading from there? Let's take a look at I guess we go to the Mexican peso right there. It's a little spiky, isn't it? There we go. So looked like it was going to make that break, and I thought it was going to make that break down to the bottom end of the range. But all of a sudden, even with it in the weekly sell, we're getting into it's showing us a volatility signal. This is really sloppy, but it's rare to see our math not pick up the correct trend. But it has to be wrong once in a while. Our math, what's it, 8.5 out of 10 times it's right. So we're in a weekly sell. We were in a daily sell for the last 2 days, and it's turned up. Not a lot today, but it has turned up in trend, and it's giving us a volatility signal of a red and a green. So the next move would be to see it actually turn into a buy and then maybe go to the top end of the range. I don't think there's any real clarity, not with the situation in Ukraine. 47. I hear that they're going to increase the defense budget and they're going to be allowed to have an army again or something like that in Germany because of all this. So I think Mr. Putin has to come up with a whole new way of backing out of this and actually admitting that he'd done something wrong. But there's this old saying during the Richard Nixon years about I'm willing to take the blame but not the responsibility. Something like that. I remember that. People who take the blame are blamed. The people who take responsibility go to jail. I think it was like the old Richard Nixon thing back in the 60s and the early 70s. And so, as I said, I was in high school and college years during the Nixon years. So, definitely interesting times. Definitely interesting times. So, Mr. Putin has got to be working on something. I guess we'll see cracks in it soon. You got to assume, how did you feel about the European Union, like voting 90% to allow? They're polling and they say 90% of the ministers are going to allow Ukraine into the European Union. So, I mean, do you know anything how that affects the defense side of it? Are people freaked because of this situation with Mr. Putin? I mean, the whole bit. This is pretty unique. It's one thing to go in the Middle East somewhere and go and kill people and blow people up, and not many people pay attention, but to try to do it in the center of Europe, it seems to be a little too crazy for me. How are you guys taking it? Are you taking it? I mean, I've talked to Polina from Dukascopy of yesteryear and so forth, and I think I talked to Giannis a little bit before this. But how are you taking it? Or how are people taking it in Germany? Are they pretty fed up with this? Yeah, that's pretty big. I mean, the Russian defense budget is 48 billion. Germany's going to go do 100 billion. That's going to freak out the Russians now. Now the oligarchs are probably saying, "What did you do? You got to go do something else. Go on vacation for 6 months. Don't bother anybody. They'll tell me you had a nervous breakdown." All right, let's go take a look at the metals and see how they've been acting through all of this. There's gold. You can see it's been in a nice ride up, and you can see it's trying to bounce here, but at the same token, right there, you can see that it's just not doing anything. It's just not it's trapped in the range here that developed from the invasion right there. They spiked it up, and it's at best it's trapped. And you can see the weekly is very happy. It's got a lot of strength there, but nothing more than that. Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, and then Zelensky, if he'd only run off, it would have made it a lot easier for Putin to do his thing. But since Zelensky is actually acting like a president and a patriot, it only gives comfort to the community and the country and the continent. All right, from there, let's take a look at silver. Silver got a little above its bounce from the invasion night last week, and it closed above it last night, but now we're backing a little bit off of it, but we did close in a daily buy, whereas gold is in a sell. You can see the weekly is trying to perk its head up right there. Now let's take a look at it on Forex. Right there. Yeah, it's the same way here. They just don't, they just don't know how to deal with it at this point. So, I mean, more than just, just support, the Ukraine. I saw this morning I saw there's a Georgian Foreign Legion from Georgia, Russian Federation, that's there fighting and supporting the Ukraine. It's almost like it's like the Civil War of 1860. Everything's coming back to the War of 1860. Wait till you see how our election goes here in the States in like 7 months. It's going to be like we're going to have more power. The opposition, the Republicans, the opposition to Trump, to Biden, I mean, is going to have more power than 1860. The Republicans will have never had that much power in history here, and which is going to make the Speaker of the House a quasi-imperial president. So he'll be able to veto the president. So it's going to be wild, really wild. It's going to be a veto-proof. I think they're going to have a veto-proof majority, which is incredible. But you can see here, silver stalled out right with the invasion price tag, just a little above it, and today it's just a little below it. We'll see if this rolls over. Let's check out copper. I saw it strong this morning. There's copper there. Looking firm there. You can see that. 2 green hinkies for the day. And there you can see the white line cleanly moving up. And right there. You can see the same thing there. You can see it cleanly moving up. Move that up to there. And the weekly is having no issue whatsoever. We're at the top end of that was a couple of weeks ago now. That was back on Feb 10th. So the invasion had no real effect on the copper. Look at that. It went down a little bit, I guess you could say. But now it's coming up to the highs again. Maybe that's a vote of confidence that the war is going to end soon, and it's going to pull the economy up, something like that. I'd imagine that's what it's trying to tell us. Okay, so from there, let's just take a look at platinum. You see there, platinum's trying to lift up, but we're in that sell. The weekly, it danced with the weekly sell last week, was playing with it this week, but has turned around again because of the strength in the metals complex in general. All right, now from there, we'll go over to the energy complex, which is literally what's powering the world at the moment. I mean, everybody's watching oils and so forth. So let's go back to Brent. There's Brent. Had got up to into the mid-teens or mid-teens basically. And then over here, we'll show you front month oil in Texas. We're at the highs. 111.78, and last is 111.60. Up 70. Up new highs. They just traded 78 again. Is the high now? The high is 111.81. They just made new highs. So there's serious talk of $150 oil because they're going to walk away from what do you call it? Russian oil. And so when they walk away from Russian oil, then you're going to have to replace it. That's why Mr. Putin needs to find a doorway out. He needs to apologize and say that he misinterpreted it, fire a few generals. And he's pretty good at that stuff. He could execute a general here or there and blame somebody else and say that he takes responsibility, though, and he apologizes. But he's not the one that was the nutcase that tried to push the troops into the country. Maybe something like that. I don't know. We'll see. Something's got to change because this is definitely not working in favor of Russia, that's for sure. And it's only going the oil is telling us that the world is walking away from Russia. That's what it's telling us because the higher it goes, it says that Russia is going to be isolated. They manufacture 10 million barrels a day, and they export out of that 10 close to 5, a little under 5 million. So that says that the markets are preparing to erase oil, Russian oil. That's what it's telling us right there. All right, now let's take a look at let's take a look at there's like Texas sweet crude. Oh, we're in the 112s now. Yeah, see, that's what that's telling us. The high now is 112.44. These prices are telling us they are going to erase the Russian oil market. That's what it's saying. And they're going to go, just hat in hand looking for oil somewhere else. And this is not a way to run a country when, you're dependent on that much, oil. Invading other countries don't seem to work when you do it in the center of. He's done it in the center of Europe. Well, I mean, it's one thing to get away with it down in Georgia or Kazakhstan or wherever, or Syria, but to go do it in the middle of Europe is definitely a no-no. As they used to say, you'll scare the straights. The straight people. Don't scare the straight people. Don't scare them. Okay. Now, let's take a look at Nat Gas and see what they're doing with that. Here's American Nat Gas. Is that right? There it is right there, Nat Gas. 4.7. Remember, we've been looking at this last couple of days. It's gone from 4.4 to 4.7. And you can see it's moving up here. It still hasn't taken out the highs here. That's that $5 area. But they're inching their way up. And let's move that up there too, like that. And then let's take a look at European oil. Right there. Trading in the 23s, down a little bit from yesterday. So, that's a positive thing. Maybe warm weather is helping out, that type of thing. We're having some nice sunshine here. We've been breaking these cold records around the planet, but we're coming into springtime here in the northern hemisphere, so that should help out a lot. That is where we're at the moment when it comes to the energy sector. Anybody want to see anything particular? If not, we'll drift over to the stock indices and call it a day. So let's see what's going on with, let's see. We'll give it, it's been bouncing around. All the stock indices have been found a way to be up. You can see the S&P, which is up 13.5, was actually up as high as 40 at one point. And you can see right there. So it was way up here this morning, no more than 2 hours ago. No, even an hour ago. And it was up like 40 some odd points. Now it's only up 14 points. And let's see what it looks like on the daily itself. And then we'll put it up on Forex too simultaneously. Right there, that's the, wrong one. Right there. That's the S&P. You see it on Forex. They've gone into the red again. There it is. And here's the, you see it here, we're playing with the weekly sell. Daily has kind of come down a little bit. It's plus 133, 150, 183. You see it's moving around in there. 200, 217. Maybe they're doing a little bounce there. Yeah, they are. Look at that. We're sliding into a buy too at the same time. Let's show you that on an intraday buy. Giving us a volatility thing going on there. See that? Yeah, look at that. They're popping it. It's just going from to only, what was that? It was the 8. Now it's 14.15 again since we started looking at it the last minute and a half, 2 minutes. It's wild and woolly, and we're in the buy there with that stuff going on. So they're probably going to try to take it up into this area here. You can see the green line here is pushing through. It's becoming overbought, but again, it has to go way down and minus the -0 line here, just like our daily charts do in our weeklies. So this thing is pushing up. This is just our intraday system. We run it on a this is a Tesla point 618, I think it is. That's what this is, a Tesla 168, and in spatial time. All right, from there, let's take a look at the NQs. There's the NQs. They're up only 35. At one point today, they were up 170. 170? No, I'm sorry, 145. They're up about 145. Actually, you see it right there, 14,145. So, and you can see the little pressure that's on this. It's not turning up like the S&Ps at the moment. Let's put it up over here. This is called the Tech 100. This is the big index itself, in the sense of that it has all the major companies in the technological side in the planet, all the bioengineering companies, Microsoft, Intel, Google, Apple, Tesla, Cisco Systems, you can name a few, Amgen, and a few of these other biotechs. So it's got all the, the Salesforce, it's all the tech stuff, all the tech companies that make our world function each day. And let's see, what else can we say about that? That's about it, I guess you could say. Hasn't started to turn up yet on the intraday. And here is the daily. Let's show you what the daily looks like right there. As you can see here, it's playing with the weekly sell and doesn't seem to want to turn up even when it's strong. You can see the daily is flirting. Like I said, this war situation thing is going to be unique in many ways. We're going to have higher oil prices if Mr. Putin doesn't figure a way of backing out of this, because obviously, even if he overthrows the government, the European Union is going to accept whoever is president of Ukraine, and obviously, it's going to be very hard for, let's put it this way, there'll be peacekeeping troops in there before you know it. European peacekeeping troops, I'm sure. I don't know, at 47, if you're around, if you know anything about what that means when you're a member of the European Union and you get invaded, what does that mean? I mean, are they going to have a no-fly zone? Are they, is there some protection of borders? Is there any of that stuff? If you know, just shout it out. Okay, from there, and you can see, let's do this. You can see here, the intraday doesn't seem to want to turn up at the moment. It's really just hesitating. Now let's jump over to the Dow Jones Industrial Average. The grand old lady of the former New York Stock Exchange Corporation. Because it's not that anymore, it's ICE. ICE owns the New York Stock Exchange now. All right, let's see, what do we got here? There's that. You can see it's having pressure here on the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Let's take a look at it over here on a daily basis. Right there. Just hanging on to the daily buy. Weekly sell is still very intact here, when the daily buy is flirting. And then over here, the index is up 148 points. Let's go show you what that looks like right there. And there it is right there, up 148 points. 154 points now, 156 points. So as it's starting to turn up, and let's see if this thing climbs into a buy on an intraday basis. You can see there's a lot of pressure on this thing. It is at the low ends of the range, so you know it could be doing that gig. We're at 160 now, 159, 158, 156. So it's kind of flirting and playing, but it's not really getting going. You know, it's just sitting there, and it's trying. You know, it's going to have to deal. You know, it has some energy stocks in the product. So you know, you know, in the index itself, there's only 30 stocks in it. I think 3 of them. I'm not sure if Exxon. I think ExxonMobil was pulled out of it actually. Now that I say that, Chevron's probably still in it. Okay. So that's pretty much the action we've been seeing today. You know, we're seeing stock markets. Usually stocks do pretty well if they can pass along the expenses. So a lot of times you'll see in a stock market, when you have high inflation, you end up seeing strength because that specific reason they open the doorway to being able to raise prices, which means they raise earnings. That's how that plays out. Let's see. What else can I say? Nope, not that. I guess we're at the end of this. Anybody want to see anything? If not, we're going to get out of here and get ready for trading. So I'll start singing. Happy trails to you until we meet again, which will be Thursday. Happy trails to you, to all our trading friends, everybody in Latvia and Poland and Ukraine and Romania and Hungary and Bulgaria and you know, everybody over there along the bordering countries, Moldova. Everybody be safe and be very safe. Be smart. Try not to, you know, keep your heads down. So this is Doc from North America saying good luck out there, Ukraine fighters. Good luck.